How's it going, guys? Thank you for joining me. Today is February 18th, 2021, and this is episode 4 of MMA in the Morning. And before we move on to the rundown, I would like to wish a happy birthday to Curtis Blade. He is turning 30 today, and also this Saturday he will be competing against Derek Lewis at UFC Fight Night in the main event. And also on top of that, the winner of this fight will put himself in a short list for the UFC Heavyweight title challenger. And here we go. Alright, so let's head on to the topic of the conversation for today. And here we go. So the fourth topic of conversation today, we have Jon Jones versus Dana White, Israel Adesanya, the possibility of him being the first 3-division champion, the fight to make, Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, and we are going to end it off with the path for Jake Paul to face Conor McGregor. All right, you guys. So let's jump into topic number 1, which is Jon Jones and Dana White. You know what? I don't know what, well, I do. It's money. Dana, I will be honest with you. Just give Jon what he wants. I mean, the guy has been into UFC for, what? Today's 2021? The last decade or so? And he is undefeated. The only loss that's in his career is against Matt Hamill, and you guys, you know how that is. It was a 12-6 elbow, and it was a disqualification. Could we really count that as a loss? And after that loss, supposedly, he's been on a tear. I don't care what anyone says. Jon Jones, he is the best in the division right now. I mean, the guy's a beast. No one has really given him any kind of competition. The only one that come kind of close is the person that we're looking at right now, which is Dominick Reyes. And you could always argue that Thiago Santos gave him a bit of a competition as well. But you know what? He won the fight. He won the fight, and it is what it is. He's still undefeated in my eyes. And right now he's making a bit of a transition. I realized that he claimed that he has retired from the UFC until he received the amount of money that he's been asking for. You know what, guys? Could you really blame him? Give the guy what he wants. Well, that's not true. I mean, I'm assuming, this is just an assumption, that he's not asking for tens of millions of dollars. I think he deserves it. I don't know how much Conor McGregor is making. I'm not comparing Conor McGregor to Jon Jones or vice versa, Jon Jones to Conor McGregor. But however, next to Conor McGregor, when it comes to drawing power, he is, in my opinion, top 3, if not top 5, if not top 4. And in my mind right now, the top 3 draws in the UFC right now is number 1, Conor McGregor, number 2, Israel Adesanya, and number 3 is, of course, Jon Jones. And according to Forbes of the 2020 male athlete, they claim that Conor McGregor made over $20 million. $20 million in one fight in about, I believe, 45 seconds versus Donald Cerrone. That's, you know what, that's a lot of money, especially for 45 seconds. I realized that it is Conor McGregor. He is in a different league of his own. I'm not saying that Jon should be receiving 20 million. And also on top of that, I realized that most of Conor McGregor's money is coming from the pay-per-view buy. The more pay-per-view sales that he sells, the more of a cut that he makes. And I believe for the UFC, I don't know, I can't recall right now, the one that he fought Donald Cerrone, they sold about 1.5 million. And if you make $10 per buy, that's an extra $10 million. Plus his purse, so it's around 20. We don't know how much he actually makes, but according to former athlete, that's where I'm getting my reference from. They say that he makes about $20 million. Why don't you give Jon half that? Let's have a quick look here. I'm gonna take a quick look for also what Jon's lifetime's earning is with the UFC. Jon Jones. I'm gonna go to Jon Jones' net worth. Here it is. I am on Google. Of course, Google's no. See, this can't be right. They said Jon Jones. His net worth roughly $3 million. That's Google. You failed me. So we're not gonna go with that. But however, I believe that, if Jon Jones is asking for anything less or up to 10 million, just give the man his money. A lot of people, including myself as well, would like to see how he would be competing or how he would compete against the UFC Heavyweight division. I realize as of right now there are a few fun matchup with him in the UFC Heavyweight division. There are, as a fan, and I am being a bit greedy, I was hoping that he would jump the line and fight Stipe for his first fight. But as we know, as of right now, Stipe has got his fight book with Francis Ngannou, and I don't mind that as well. It's just the fact that Francis has been waiting very patiently for his turn, and like I said, that was just me being selfish. And there's a bit of a dispute between, like I said previously, Dana and Jon Jones of how much he should be getting paid. And I'm kind of glad that he left the light heavyweight division and tried to make a transition to heavyweight. There's nothing else there for him in light heavyweight. I mean, he has been everyone in that division over and over and over again. There has been another argument that Jon is jumping ship. It's just the fact that a lot of people believe that the light heavyweight division is catching up to Jon Jones, and that is one of the main reasons why that Jon's leaving. His last few fights between Dominick Reyes and I believe Diego Santos, there could have been a 50-50 swings, and there's a lot of people claiming that he lost those fights. But however, you could, but according to the history book, according to the books, he won all those fights. Regardless of what we believe, a win is still a win. So in my mind, Jon Jones is the GOAT right now. I know. A lot of people could say that there's been some cheating with the drug substance, with the picogram. You know what? Me personally, I really don't care. Because, like I said, this is me being selfish again. Like, I am taking Jon Jones for his words. He said that the amount that's in there is like a pinch of salt into a swimming pool. Could that really help you with your performance? And at the end of the day, fighting is not what is just in your system. It's also your mind, your approach to the game. You could be the biggest guy. Look at Brock Lesnar. He did well. I mean, it's just the fact that he was so big. But he was just so big and he took himself to that level. He did become a UFC champion. But however, when he ran to a guy like Cain Velasquez or over him, these guys are fighters. And what I mean by fighter is that they are willing to take shots for shots. They understand range, they understand movement, they understand the punching power, and they can take hits, and they've been competing for a very long time, especially over him. As for now, I am sad and disappointed with over him. It's just the fact that, you know what, I've been a fan of his for a very long time. During the time for Strikeforce and his kickboxing, and also oh my goodness, he was the 3-time world champion as he was entering the UFC. And yeah, I was hoping for him to become the next UFC heavyweight champion. And as we know, he ran into a bit of a roadblock, especially the last one. The last one was bad. That could have been his swan song. I realized that he does have one more run, and that was it. So let's get back to Jon Jones with Dana White. Jon, I believe that Jon still wants to compete. He wants to become a 2-division champion as well. He would like to make that run for the record book. In my mind, he is the best right now, and he is the GOAT. Essentially, regardless of that one loss, with that one disqualification loss, in my mind, he's the GOAT right now. There's no one in the UFC that could compete with him right now. I realized that he's stepping up in weight, and he's trying to put him some muscle mass, so he can compete with the UFC heavyweight division. I am as a fan, I am looking forward to it. But for that to happen, for Jon Jones to compete in the UFC heavyweight division, Dana White and Jon Jones must come with a reasonable number. Jon, he is a fighter, he is an athlete, and this is what he does for a living. This is him. Fighting is Jon Jones. This is how he feeds his family, and it is in his nature, not just in Jon, but I believe in the Jones family as well. 2 of his brothers, they are a beast of an athlete. 2 of his brothers, they competed in the NFL, and Jon Jones, he was not able to, and that's why he is in the UFC right now. You guys, that is the reality of the situation. Jon, he's a gifted athlete, but he is not his brothers. His brother, those guys are athletes. I mean, they made it into the NFL. So, yeah. Jon, Dana, Jon, I don't know what you guys need to do. I want you guys to come with a compromise. I realize that Jon is retired. You know, if you give him the right number, Jon will come back. And I would like to see him take a warm-up fight in the UFC heavyweight. I realize that this is the UFC. There's no such thing as a warm-up fight. But you know what? There are levels to this game for a reason. And I am looking forward to March 6th when Stipe is taking on Ngannou. And yeah. So that is my quick thought on Jon Jones versus Dana White. Dana, give the man his worth, give the man his money. Jon, just be reasonable. I believe that you guys come up with a reasonable number. Okay? Alright, so after that, we are going to move into our second topic of the day, which is Israel Adesanya. The possibility of him being the UFC first ever triple champ. And what do you guys think? Here is my opinion. Me personally, I believe that he's got a very, very big task in front of him right now in Jan Blachowicz. He is facing Jan on March 6th, 2021 to become the UFC double champ. And after that, you guys, but after that, there is a lot of people that they're saying that he might be able to skip the line in front of Jon Jones in heavyweight and to come up with the UFC first triple simultaneous 3-time UFC heavyweight champion. There's a possibility. I mean, Israel has competed in heavyweight before, and as right now, he's got a lot of hype behind him. But however, I mean, it's Jan Blachowicz. This guy, he's been written off before. I mean, even with his last fight versus Dominick Reyes, a lot of people believe that it was Dominick Reyes' time, even Dominick Reyes as well. But however, me personally, I was glad. I was glad that Jan won. You might call me a hater, but I am being a realist. I believe that he was being a bit cocky, and you know what? Life's a bitch, and that's what you get. So I'm kind of glad that he knocked him out. But enough of that. Let's get back to Israel. The possibility in my mind, I realized that Israel is the favorite right now, heading into his fight versus Jan. I don't know. I mean, he's very talented. I realized that the topic of this conversation is Israel triple champ. You know what? I should put a question mark next to that. Because, like I said, there is a weight class for a reason. And I believe that a lot of people are writing off Jan as just as a number. Just a number in the L for Israel. But you guys, this guy Blachowicz, he's durable. He's been doing this for a very long time. It's not his first rodeo. He has been counted out before. And I believe right now he's on. Let me take a quick look at his stats here. Like, according to the UFC stats, oh wow, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He is 9-1 within his last 10 fight. And his last loss was to Thiago Santos. And that was at UFC Fight Night in February 23rd, 2019, which is almost a year ago. Holy smokes. It's not bad. So let's get back to the topic of the conversation. What are the odds of Israel Adesanya becoming triple champ? In my mind, this is just my opinion. Not well. I believe that a lot of people are overlooking Jan Blachowicz. I realize that as for right now, Adesanya, he's got a record of 20-0, not just in the UFC, but his fighting career as a whole. But however, I am looking forward to this fight coming up. Israel Adesanya has been in everyone in the top 5. And as we look at the top 5 right here, these are the UFC top 5 right now. Robert Whittaker, he beat. Paulo Costa, he beat. Jared Cannonier, I believe he faced him previously as well. But just let me double check here. I believe he beat him as well. Yes, he did, I believe. No, he did not. He did not face Diogo Santos, but he beat Derek Brunson, Robert Whittaker, Kevin Gastelum, Anderson Silva, Brad Tavares, Marvin Vettori, Rob Williamson. You know what? That is a very good resume, but it's just bad. I'm making a video about this guy, and I'm being negative about him. I'm just trying to be real here. I'm just trying to give you guys a piece of my mind of what I believe of Adesanya. Don't get me wrong. He's a talented fighter, like I previously mentioned. But I don't know. I have not jumped on the bandwagon. I believe that there are still a lot of tough opponents for him. I just he just doesn't rub it the right way. I just don't understand. I realized that a lot of people think, a lot of people believe that he's got that X factor. I don't see it. I don't see Israel Adesanya X factor. He managed to sell himself to a lot of fans, fighters, even the promoter. His star is shining bright. And I don't know why. Maybe because the way that he finished his previous opponents. But let's have a look. I believe that when he fought Paulo Costa was being a bit too emotional, and he did not fight his fight. And the one before that, he was fighting against Yoel Romero. That fight was a joke. Well, I don't know what Yoel was thinking. I don't know what he was doing. He was waiting to counter, and it was a 50-50 fight. I saw that fight. I gave Israel 4-1. I believe that Yoel Romero won one round, 1 out of 5. I was extremely disappointed. And the round that he won, you know what? Pick a round. But it's only one round. It's all those five rounds was really close. And the one before that, when he unified the title against him and Robert Whittaker, that was... I would like to contribute that to Ring Rust. And Robert Whittaker didn't look like himself. I realized that it might sounds like me. I'm just making excuse of what actually happened, but that's why I honestly believe. And on top of that, I believe in being humble, and I just don't like his cockiness. I realized that he is the champ. When you're the champ, you can be as cocky as you want, because at the end of the day, you have the record to prove it, you have the title to prove it, and you're the king of the world. But you know what? Just be a bit humble. You see? Just be a bit humble. Am I a fan of his? No. Am I being a hater? Kinda. I'm not gonna lie. But I am also a realist. I like to watch fight. And his star is shining. And it could get a lot brighter if he beat Jan. So, but however, like I said, I don't want to say that I'm rooting against him, but I don't want to say that I'm rooting for him. I just want to see a good fight. Do I believe that he's going to win his next fight? No. But the title of this conversation is Israel Triple Champ. Is there a possibility of him to be a 3-division champ? Yes, absolutely, 100%. There is always that possibility. There's always that possibility. And I believe in my mind right now, the only person in the UFC that could accomplish that feat is Israel Adesanya, because there's no one else left. Unless you want to look into the women's division, which is Amanda Nunes. Oh my goodness. Amanda Nunes, she's the GOAT. She's the female GOAT. Besides Israel Adesanya, that is actively competing, I believe that if she can make 125, and I believe that there's always that sick possibility that's like, when I say sick, I mean that incredible possibility. If she moved down to 125 and face Valentina and become a triple champ in the female division, you know what? Build her that Mount Rushmore. But in the men's side, the only 2-division active champion right now that is still fighting beside Israel is Conor McGregor. And you know what, man? Conor McGregor, it's not doing well. In lightweight, he is 1-2, and in welterweight, he is 2-1. But in welterweight, he beat Donald Cerrone, and he beat Nate Diaz. And come on, you guys, Nate Diaz or Donald Cerrone, they're not even in top 10 in the welterweight in my mind. They're not even top 10 in lightweight. So, yeah. Okay. So that is my quick thought on the possibility of Israel Adesanya being a UFC first triple champ. It does not have to be simultaneously, but he's got the best odds right now, unless Henry Cejudo choose to come back into the UFC. But the UFC lightweight, that's where he need to go. No, sorry, the UFC featherweight. I don't see him beating the current champ right now. Okay, so after that, we're gonna bring this to an end and move on to our third topic of the day. And now we are gonna head over to our third topic of the day, and it is Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. I believe that is the next fight to make for the UFC welterweight contender. I realized that, first of all, Colby, he's not too fond of this. It's just the fact he believed that Leon Edwards, he's not up there, which I disagree. I believe that this is the reason why this is the fight to make. It's just the fact that Colby Covington and Leon Edwards, the one thing that they both have in common is that both their last loss was to the champ. But however, when it comes to popularity, Colby Covington is so much higher than Leon Edwards. But when it comes to skill-wise, they are neck and neck. I'd say both these guys, the winner could be put on a short list to fighting the champ next. I mean, let's have a quick look at their record right here. Colby is 8-1 within the last 9, and his last loss was to the champ at UFC 245. And compared to Leon Edwards, he is 10-1, which is 11 fights. And his last loss was also to the current champion at UFC on Fox. Wow, December 19th, 2015. And you know what? I don't know why I kind of know why that they're not making this fight. First of all, I know that they want to, but Colby Covington is being a bit difficult because he wants to get paid, which is, he should. Colby, he's been playing this character, because at the end of the day, that's what that is. This character, he's been playing a heel. He's trying to get paid, and he's doing a freaking awesome job. People are talking about him. He's making some noise in the UFC, and not just in the UFC. He's making some noise in the media, in the public, with the MAGA, and him being very vocal of being a Trump supporter. But however, Trump is no longer the president, and I believe that is one of the main reasons why Colby has been very quiet in the media. That's why we have not heard much about him. So, and also he just recently, he competed in 2020 in September 19 against Tyron Woodley, which he finished Tyron Woodley in the fifth round, 1 minute and 19 seconds into it. And when it comes to Leon, his last fight was at UFC Fight Night Dos Santos versus Leon, which he headlined, and that is July 2019, and that was a unanimous decision versus Rafael Dos Santos. And as we know, after that last fight, the UFC has been trying to book him versus Chimaev, and that has been a bit of a gauntlet lately. It's COVID. I believe that they had rescheduled these guys 3 times previously to this fight coming up, but this fight coming up was supposed to be for this March 13th, 2021. But Chimaev, he got COVID, so that fight has been cancelled, which is very unfortunate for Leon. But but it is more unfortunate for Chama Chmaya, because you know what? Fuck COVID, man. I mean, it's been taking so much lives. We all have been told, hey, go in, don't come out. 2020 for me, it's been horrible. And now it's 2021. And I am from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And we are on a second wave. I can't even leave my place. The only time that I do leave my place is for essential, like grocery shopping. And that's it. This is the second lockdown. It's frustrating. Well, enough about me. But like I said, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington, that is, in my opinion, in my mind, 100% the next fight to make. But let's have a quick look at the UFC Welterweight division. If Colby Covington does not choose to fight Leon Edwards, who do you think he should fight next? Gilbert Burns, the person who just lost to champ? Maybe, possibility. Jorge Masvidal, unlikely. It's just the fact that there's been some rumors that Jorge is fighting Kamaru Usman, and there's possibility that Jorge and Usman being the next coach of the Ultimate Fighter. And as reported right now from UFC 258, Kamaru Usman, he is on a 6-month suspension from a injured foot. And on top of that, there's always Michael Chiesa as well for Colby. And Chiesa is riding a 4-fight win streak. And let's take a look on the other side, which is Leon Edwards. Let's bring up the same name. Gilbert Burns. Yes, 100%. Because Gilbert Burns, after his previous loss to the current champ, Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, that was, in my mind, that was a very difficult loss for him. And for me as a fan of his, I believe it's time for him to go back to the drawing board. I'm talking about Gilbert Burns. It's time for him to go back to the drawing board, take a look in which area that he could improve in. And in my mind, I believe that one of the things that he needs to work on is his cardio, his patience, because I am still picking him to be the next future champ. And I would like to see a rematch with Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman. But as right now, he needs to build his way up. Gilbert Burns is not going to get the next title shot. But however, I can see him being a very good fight against Leon Edwards. And for Leon Edwards, besides Gilbert Burns, we don't have Jorge Masvidal for the previous reason that I just mentioned. The possibility of him coaching with Kamaru, Ultimate Fighter 29. And also, next is that Michael Chiesa. He's sitting number 4. He's running a 4-fight win streak. This is a big if Jorge Masvidal does not fight Kamaru Usman, like I previously mentioned, Kamaru is on a 6-month injury list. I would like, beside Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, like I previously mentioned, I would love to see Colby Covington fight Leon Edwards as the number one contender. But however, as a backup fight, because Colby's saying no right now. Colby's saying no. I believe that the reason is that he would like to get more pay. And you could never begrudge a fighter asking for more pay, asking for what he's worth. As a backup fight, is that if Colby says no to this matchup, I would like to see Leon Edwards taking on Michael Chiesa as the number 1 contender. Yeah. So, but like I said, these two guys, I want to see them fight. As a fight fan, I believe that is going to be a fun fight. And both these guys, they got that bit of an attitude, that bit of, hey, watch me fight, buy my pay-per-view, buy my fights. And I am looking forward to that. I am very looking forward to that. So, Yeah. So guys, so that is my quick thought on Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. Like I said, I'm just playing matchmaker, and that's the match that I would like to see. And the previous reason that I just mentioned, those are the reason why I like to see these guys fight each other next. I realized that there is an X factor, Michael Chiesa. Okay, you know what? I would like to toss in another. I'm just going on a tangent now. I'd like to toss in one more X factor, which is everyone's favorite fighter, Nate Diaz. Could you just imagine if Nate Diaz just jump in there and beat one of these guys? Holy smokes, that'd be crazy. But to quote Nate Diaz, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Alright. Alright, so we are going to head into our final topic of the day, which is the path for Jake Paul to face Conor McGregor. Come on, you guys. How can you not like this? I mean, I would love to see Jake Paul fight Conor McGregor for two reasons. Number one, I think it'll be very entertaining. That's my main reason. I love the sport of mixed martial arts. I love the sport of fighting, but at the end of the day, I like to be entertained. So let's break this down. How would what must Jake Paul do to have a make a fight with Conor McGregor? Here are the following reasons why I believe that is a possibility. Number one, first of all, he must beat Ben Askren. He's scheduled to fight Ben Askren at one of the next Thriller promotion on April 17th. Location has not been announced, so that is the first thing that he must do. He must beat Ben Askren. And you guys, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to be that guy towards Ben Askren. I think I'm fairly confident that Jake Paul is gonna destroy Ben Askren. I mean, Ben Askren, I realize that he is a former ONE champion. He's a former Bellator champion. But he is a mixed martial arts champion. This is not mixed martial arts. This is a boxing match. And this is Ben Askren's first pro boxing match. Ben Askren is 36 years old. He's 36 years old, never had a boxing match in his life, and he's facing a guy that is 24 years old, coming into his prime. He's hungry, while Ben Askren, he is the other end of the spectrum. He's 36. He's at the tail end of his career. He's no longer in his prime. He was never known as a good boxer. He's a wrestler. Ben Askren is known as a wrestler. He's known as taking down his opponent and smother him. Try to take him. Well, he does take him down. Smother him, and just grinds on him until his opponent gives up, or until he get into a position where he's have the ability to put on some kind of submission. That's it. That is Ben Askren's game plan. That's his game plan right there. Take him down, grind him out, wear him out, put some pressure, get a decision, and if that doesn't work, try to submit him. And when you get into UFC, you guys, this is the reason why the UFC is the best promotion in the world. When you get there, you really know where you stand. And this is what I mean by that. Ben Askren got into UFC with a trade with ONE championship. Ben Askren would go over to UFC, and UFC would transfer Demetrius Johnson to ONE championship. if you have to ask who came out better, who benefited most in this transaction, I would have to say 100% for ONE Championship and for Demetrius Johnson as well. Demetrius Johnson went over. He won their flyweight tournament. He's next in line for their flyweight championship. He's undefeated over there after his loss to Henry Cejudo. And he's being such a big name himself. He's got action figure. He was signed into one of Asia's biggest e-gaming sports. His Twitch account is going up. He's become such a big name over there. While for Ben Askren, the opposite has happened. He go in there, I believe he's 1-2. He beat God damn it. He beat Robbie Lawler, which he should have lost. I thought that he was out. Then he came back and submitted him. And then he lost to Jorge Masvidal in about 5 seconds. And then he got destroyed by Demian Maia, and Demian Maia made that look easy. And this is the reason why I believe that Jake Paul is going to beat Ben Askren. But the topic of this conversation is Jake Paul's path to Conor McGregor. I believe that he must beat at least 2 persons before he gets to Conor McGregor, and that's one of the 2. If that's the case, if one of the 2 is in the book in my mind, so who is the next person that Jake Paul must beat? And I believe that he must beat one of the 2 persons. One is Nate Diaz, and 2 is Dylan Dennis. And these are the reason why. Oh man, I should have and these are the reason why. Nate Diaz, Nate Diaz made his name by beating Conor McGregor on a short notice fight. That is essentially how Nate Diaz catapulted his career into the mainstream. He took a fight in, I believe, on a 10 days notice. He went in there and he submitted Conor McGregor. And as of right now, he is sitting 1-1 with Conor. 1 win, 1 loss. And also on top of that, Nate Diaz got this such big fan following, and so does Conor McGregor. And there's always a talk that third fight, to see who's better of the 2. And I don't know if that's gonna happen right away. Me personally, I don't think it's gonna happen right away. But if Jake would have go in there and beat Nate Diaz, he would jump the line for that opportunity to fight Conor McGregor. I realize that the 3rd match between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz will always be there. But for the fight fan inside of me, and for the fan as a whole, not just myself, but the community from mixed martial arts and the casual as well, and the boxing fan and the YouTube fan, I believe that would be the next fight to make. Or the second fight that Jake Paul must win. Like I said, I believe that he must win at least 2 fights. Is Conor McGregor, good friend and trading partner, and that is Dylan Dennis. Could you guys just imagine? Conor would go crazy if Jake Paul would go in there, beat Dylan Dennis, who's known as a BJJ expert. If Jake Paul would go in there and just destroy him in a boxing ring, yes, both these fights against Nate Diaz or Dylan Dennis must take place in a boxing ring. And that is the other contingency. And he's been saying that. He's been working on his boxing. He's got cardio that could go for like forever. Him and his brother, they are triathlon. They train like every day. Yeah. But Nate, he's more of one of some celebrity fighter. He makes it clear that he's no longer chasing the UFC title. He's all about the money fight. He's about the fun fight. He's all about the fight that can make him the most money. And I believe that's why after Jake Paul beat Ben Askren, I am putting a few bucks on this. Not much. I'm going to put a few dollars down that Jake Paul is going to beat Ben Askren. And after that, I believe that Jake Paul will absolutely 100%. Well, I shouldn't say 100% because I don't know. Let's say 99%. If you face Nate Diaz or Dylan Dennis, he have a high possibility of beating both those guys. And if he does, if he beat Ben Askren, which I believe he will, and going on to beat Nate Diaz and Dylan Dennis, he will make some noise, which he has previously done. Before he beat Nate Robinson in his previous fight, I'm talking about Jake Paul. He said he made this claim that him, his manager, and promotion Thriller would offer Conor McGregor $50 million to fight him, and that funding was secured. Funding that he essentially got the money if Conor McGregor choose to step into the boxing ring and fight him professionally. As we know, what happened there. Essentially, Jake Paul went in there. He destroyed Nate Robinson, and on the other end, Conor McGregor next fight at UFC 257, he went in there and he got finished by Dustin Poirier. So that brought down his stocks a bit. But that is in the octagon. Jake Paul is still offering a match against Conor McGregor in the boxing ring, and that would be such a huge fight. But before we get there, before we get into that final match, that third match, what I think about the possibility of that happening? High. I think the possibility of that happening is extremely high. As right now, as I previously mentioned in my intro, today is February 18th, 2021. And on April 17th, he's fighting Ben Askren, which I believe he's going to win. And then after that, I believe that the last quarter of 2021, he must have another high-profile fight in the boxing ring. And the two opponents after Ben Askren, the two opponents that I'm picking is Nate Diaz, because Diaz will fight Jake Paul 1% if the money is right. And if Jake Paul could offer Conor McGregor $50 million, he will come out with the right amount of money. They will make an agreement with a reasonable number. What number that may be, I don't know. I believe that Nate will do it for like 10% of that amount, and 10% of $50 million is $5 million. I believe that will be more money than anything that Nate has ever made with the UFC. And Nate will be fighting a YouTuber. And if Nate believes that he's very good at what he does, which he is, mixed martial arts fighting, and he has also been making a lot of claims of how good he is as a boxer. $5 million fighting a YouTuber? Yeah, sure. Why not? Take it. Take the money. Take that $5 million. And on top of that, he is going to get sponsored as well. I realize that the UFC does have a say in this. The UFC has promoted fighters before. Dana White has promoted Conor McGregor versus Floyd. I realize that this is not going to bring in as much money as Floyd versus Conor. Money's money. They are still going to make money. The question that must be asked is how much. And number 2 fight is, of course, Dylan Dennis. Out of the fight after Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, I believe that Dylan Dennis would be, I say 1 in 5, which is a 20% possibility, but 20% is still 20%. That matchup could still be there. But either way, I believe that he is 2 fights away from facing Conor McGregor, and he must win them both. First fight is coming up against Ben Askren, and his second fight, I believe it should be booked in the last quarter of 2021 against Nate Diaz or Dylan Dennis, or that's my 2 top pick. It could be anyone, but he must win at least 2 fights. So, and if you win both those 2 fights, I could see the UFC and Conor McGregor, and also Jake Paul as well, scheduling his 3rd fight against not his 3rd fight, so I believe his 5th pro fight as a whole in mid 2022. I believe that is the path for Jake Paul, with the possibility of him facing Conor McGregor. Okay. Alright guys, so that is my thought on what's coming up next. Thank you for watching. If you have not, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Peace. Be safe.